What is up, everyone? How are you guys doing today? I hope you're having a fantastic day. Like always, thank you guys for listening, and this is the best part of my week. Let's get started. So last week we spoke about faith builders and how that can help prevent sin, but this week we're going to talk about the cycle that occurs when you're being tempted with sin. All right, so step one is enticement. All right, there are 4 steps. The first one is enticement. Now this means that your flesh becomes aroused. I want you to think of a trout hidden away and it sees a lure. It's not necessarily going after the lure, but it's intrigued by it. And I want you to think of us like the trout, and the lure is anything that can tempt you. So don't let your mind be aroused by those things. Set your mind on things from above, things from God. That way it can prevent us by being aroused and leading us to step 2, which is conception. And conception is when your will becomes activated, like your will is to do the sin, but you haven't done it yet. So what will happen a lot of times is when your will wants to do the sin is you'll go through rituals that you usually do before you do this sin. So the best thing to do here, if you're at this step, if you end up at step 2, is to know your rituals and prevent yourself from going through them and thereby stopping yourself from sinning. And that would be step 3. If you don't prevent yourself at conception, you end up in sin. All right. And sin is when you're actively doing the thing that, the temptation, when you give into the temptation. And I want you to think of that trout biting down on the lure, and it no longer has the pleasure of the worm, but it's only the pain and the sorrow of the hook, and which leads to step 4, which is death. And this necessarily doesn't mean dying, but it does mean any consequence that arises from that sin. All right, so here's what I want you guys to do this week. This is my weekly challenge to you. I want you guys to write down things that entice you and things that your rituals, things that you think you do before you sin, and work on ways to prevent yourself from doing that. And that way we could stop ourselves from sinning and falling into this cycle, this endless cycle of sin. I want to thank you guys for listening. So I encourage you guys to wake up, putting one foot in front of the other, and to always pound the rock.